So, first of all, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for coming over and listening to me today. I'm Kyron D'Souza, and essentially what I do is ultra running. That's how I started, and I've been doing this for the last 10 years now. Ultra running is a sport which means that I need to run a lot. It's over the distance of 42 kilometers, which is the marathon, and that's the kind of running I've been doing over the last few years. In the last 5 years, my specialty, so to say, has been trail running, running in the mountains, running off the roads, off the highways, not in the cities. The running I do is in the mountains, on the trails, in the forests, and that has brought me to Manali, where I live now for the last 4-5 years. And I've had the opportunity to represent India at 3 World Championships, Trail Running World Championships, in 2017, 18 and 2019. And what I do, this sport, I do this as a full-time athlete. Now, 2020, for all of us, has been a year that none of us expected it to pan out that way. And all our plans naturally were, had to be modified and changed, and everything was, we had to pretty much figure it out as we were going. So that's how 2020 was for me as well. I had a lot of races lined up for the year, a lot of racing that I was looking forward to, and none of those races went through. None of the travels that were lined up could happen. And I ended up using that time to focus on projects that have been goals for me for many years. And I've been just dreaming about these projects for many years. And that's how I ended up actually taking that time and making that effort and actually attempting 2 speed attempts on Mount Friendship, which stands at 5,289 meters, and Mount Deotibba, which stands at 6,001 meters. These were 2 speed attempts. What it means is that I went up to the peak and back down from the peak in as fast a time as I possibly could do. This kind of style of attempting a peak has been of interest to me for many years, and the fact that I've run long distance, it has, and the fact that I can actually mix and use 2 sports, mountaineering and trail running, and mix them both and do something cool with it, has been of a huge interest for me for many years. And finally I was able to attempt it this year, and that's why I'm coming here and speaking to you and telling you a little bit about my story through IMF and through the support of Brigadier Abbey. So what I did was, in June 2020, I made a speed attempt on Mount Friendship from Mall Road. I started at the mall, I ran on the road into Solang Valley, further up into Dhundi, and that's where the trek for Mount Friendship actually originally starts from. Usually people take a car to go up to this point, but I ran this whole way. From there I went up to the base camp, and from there I continued further up to the summit. What I had done 3 days before I made this attempt, I had left some gear, my mountaineering gear, essential gear that I would need. So that also allowed me to to recce the route a little bit, to understand the current snow conditions at the time, and leave my gear. So when I got to base camp on the day of my attempt, I picked up my mountaineering gear, changed into my mountaineering boots, my crampons, and then I went further up straight to the peak. I ended up reaching the peak in about 7.5 hours, did a little Instagram live, took a few photos, and then headed back down, straight down, because the peak, the summit, was essentially the halfway mark for me, right? Because I was supposed to go all the way back to the Mall Road. So I went down, ran down, and left some of my gear at the same point at the base camp that we had set up, and then continued further down all the way to Mall Road, and eventually finished this whole attempt in about 11 hours and 45 minutes. That was the first time something of this sort that I'm aware of has happened in India, a speed attempt on a mountain, and by an Indian. So that was quite a cool moment for me. And after that, I started dreaming more. Naturally, that was the first step. I started having bigger plans, and the next thing I was wanting to do was to attempt a speed ascent on Mount Deotibba. the next sort of step in the whole progression. So I started working towards that, and on October 1st I made that attempt. Now before I made that attempt on the peak, I had gone with a team. They were my filming team. They were filming, so we are going to have a pretty cool video coming up on all about this speed ascent in the near future. And what we did was we recce'd the whole route. The team had to recce as well. I had to recce. We had to get acclimatized. We had to understand the whole, all the whatever we would face on the whole mountain, right? Understand how the mountain is at different times of the day, how the weather is, how the snow condition is, the crevasses, how many of them are open, to understand all of these things, right? So we spent some time. I spent about a week to 10 days on the mountain, recceing the route, understanding what is the best route I should be taking to get to the summit in the fastest time. And like I did on Friendship, I left some of my gear at the top, at the col, at Duhangan Col. My mountaineering gear that I needed, my boots, my ice sacks, my harness, I left that all there, and then I came all the way down back to Manali to rest and spend a few days of just recovering and eating a lot. On the 1st October at about 3:30 in the morning, I made that attempt. I made my attempt from the road head. I didn't start it from Mall Road because it's a 6,000 meter peak, and I want to grow gradually, and I don't want to just make big jumps. So if you start from Manali, it would have been like a 45 to 50 kilometer just running on the road total. So I started at the road head, and that's where the trek for the peak starts as well. And I went through the night. It was really cold. Crossed a couple of streams coming down from the mountain, and at various points I also met the guys from the filming team, right? So they also doubled up as my support crew, whether it was just support crew in terms of gear or food or just that emotional support that one needs. I ended up meeting a lot of them along the way. At base camp, that was where I had set up, I'd left some gear as well, and that was going to be the point where I would spend some time, eat food, change into my clothes, collect fresh clothes, things like that. So while going up, I spent about half an hour there getting warmed up, getting ready for the next part of the whole attempt, which is going up to the summit, which is also the most trickiest part, and also for me the part that I was looking forward to the most. So after that half an hour, I headed up, crossed the glacier, up Duhangan Col. At the top, at the col, I met another friend who gave me my mountaineering gear and some nice hot soup. It was a cold morning, and that was the first point I had reached where I'd actually seen the sun. I think I reached there around 9:30 in the morning. After that, I crossed a few crevasses, navigated across a glacier a bit, and started climbing the steep ice gully, which leads up to the summit camp, which is where I had the next team waiting, ready to film, and also my friends who were going to continue with me to the summit from this point to film me and also double up as for safety and everything. So I got there. I don't remember. I think it was about a 2-hour climb to the summit camp. I took a little break there, had a few snacks. Cheese was what I was consuming a lot on that day, so had a few blocks of cheese, took some cheese for the way to the summit as well, and then I headed up. 3 of us headed up, Karthik, Sukrit and me. We navigated again a few crevasse sections, and it was a beautiful hike where we could see the summit camp, we could see the base camp down below at about, so we were at around 5,700 meters and the base camp was at about 4,000 meters. So we had a pretty cool view of that. And then we continued up after crossing a few crevasses again to the final climb before you reach the summit field of Mount Dev Tibba. And at this point, 2 of us roped up, Sukrit and me roped up, just to add safety. And I'd already been out for many hours. I think I'd been out for around 9-10 hours at this point, so I was tired. thinking slowly, exhausted naturally. So to add that safety, we roped up. We did not use any kind of ice screws or anything, or no points of safety with the slope, but we were just Simon climbing the whole time. About 3 pitches, so about 90 to 100 meters of a climb, and after that it's a nice, easy, relaxing walk to the summit field. So a good, probably a kilometer long walk. So we both did that, reached the summit, very, very excited that we had been thinking and dreaming of this for so many months in the build up, right? So finally being at the summit was really, really really fun and really happy, and we had actually made it, right? So it was pretty cool. But at the same time, we had to remember that the summit was just the halfway point. We have to go all the way back, right? So spent about 20-30 minutes over there, ate some, again, cheese, some chocolates, and turned around, started walking back, did the whole way back. We climbed down this ice wall as well. At the base of the ice wall, I unroped because I was going to be moving a lot faster. So I unroped and then again navigated the crevasses. This time there were a lot of clouds coming up the valley, so it was a bit cloudy and a bit foggy. So a little slow moving because you couldn't really see clearly. So I moved a little, tried to follow my footsteps back to the summit field, met the guys there, hugged each other, extremely excited that we were on the way back after the summit. I still had the long ice gully descent. There are a lot of fixed ropes on this route because a lot of teams are always attempting this mountain, and they just usually end up leaving their ropes as it is. So my only goal was to rush down. The whole time before I made the attempt, I had told myself that I will not use any ropes, but at this point I was like, you know what, I want to run down quickly, and I got carried away a little with the time because I had this goal of trying to make it below 18 hours, and that was a possibility, and I was like, you know what, I have to rush. So I just used those ropes and ran down, literally ran down, and ended up doing the summit, this gully in like 30 minutes from the top to the base of it. Continued to the camp at the col, left, changed into my running gear, took my shoes, removed my mountaineering boots, packed up my bag, headed straight to base camp. It was a bit of a tricky section because when I got down to the glacier at the base of Duangan Col, it was dark, and I did not have any light on me, so it was slow moving to the base camp. I got there, I had my friends waiting for me. Nitish and Kshitij were there, helping me with changing my stuff, getting whatever food I needed. Spent about half an hour there, and then I left base camp to head to the finish line at the road head. And then I was too tired, moving I think like a zombie. So Kshitij tagged along, and he ran the whole 15K with me to the finish as well. The same way back, crossed a couple of rivers, Tenta, Seri, all the way back to the roadhead. I thought I was moving very well, and I was really excited. I was running a lot. But when I got to the finish line, and I got there in about 19 hours 38 minutes. And when I got there, I realized that I was actually moving downhill, and I was running downhill as fast as I was running uphill in the morning. So I was basically moving at the same speed, probably just because I was too exhausted and low on energy. But it was an amazing attempt and an amazing experience, and something that I'm already dreaming of doing a lot more. The idea with these projects, was to do things in the mountains, in my home mountains. I live over here. To do stuff in the mountains in India, I could, go and probably do things at Mont Blanc or Eiger, or all these mountains that are already popular and people are already set speed attempts. But the idea is to do things in the mountains that I train in and where I live, and hopefully have a lot more people, getting excited about this and want to someday make attempts on these mountains, because these are beautiful mountains that we have, and lots of them, right? There's so many unclimbed mountains, there's so many mountains, and so many beautiful routes to do, and so many amazing things that we can do right in the mountains that we have here. So the idea is to have, hopefully have more and more people do more cool things in the mountains. So I'm glad that I was able to start with it, and I hope a lot more folks take it up and do exciting things in the mountains as well. So yeah, I hope you guys, thanks for listening to me, and I hope you have a wonderful 2021, and all of you have some amazing adventures yourselves, and share it with me if you ever feel like it. So thanks for listening, and take care.